Shalom. Thanks for joining me. I'm going to start teaching in Numbers chapter 28, which is where we left off, or where I left off. The last video was through chapter 27. And so again, these are Bible lessons that I'm recording for the benefit of my Bible class that I teach at Crossbridge Christian Church on West Road in Houston, Texas. So I have the privilege of getting to do that. Again, I'm reading from the Complete Jewish Study Bible, which is a really outstanding translation. So it'll be a little different than yours, but if you have the YouVersion app, you can obtain it very quickly. Chapter 28 begins here, and it begins to talk about Adonai giving Moshe an order to the people of Israel. He says, tell them, you are to take care to offer me at the proper time the food presented to me as offerings made by fire, providing a fragrant aroma for me. Tell them, this is the offering made by fire that you are to bring to Adonai. Male lambs in their first year and without defect, 2 daily as a regular burnt offering. Offer the one lamb in the morning and the other lamb at dusk, along with 2 quarts of fine flour as a grain offering, mixed with 1 quart of oil from pressed olives. It is the regular burnt offering, the same as was offered on Mount Sinai to give a fragrant aroma, an offering made by fire for Adonai. Its drink offering is to be 1 quarter hin for 1 lamb. In the holy place, you are to pour out a drink offering of intoxicating liquor to Adonai. The other lamb you are to present at dusk. Present it with the same kind of grain offering and drink offering as in the morning. It is an offering made by fire with a fragrant aroma for Adonai. Now, this is an interesting little paragraph because what this explains is the sacrificial system in the temple. And this time it's in the tabernacle. Later, of course, when the temple is built, this animal sacrificial system will be the way in which you worship God. Notice every single day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year, you're offering a lamb in the morning with a grain offering and a drink offering, and a lamb in the evening, again with a grain offering and a drink offering, every single day without fail, continuously. There's one thing that you have to be reminded of, and that's what this whole thing is all about. Worshiping God is not to be taken lightly, and the forgiveness of sins requires the shedding of blood of an innocent animal, in this case, for an animal sacrifice. So every single day, the priest slays a lamb, offers a grain offering, offers a drink offering in the morning, and again in the afternoon, the evening, the end of the day, same exact thing. 7 days a week, without fail. And then the next verse, verse 9, on Shabbat, that is Sabbath day, on Saturday, you offer 2 male lambs in their first year and without defect, with 1 gallon of fine flour as a grain offering, mixed with olive oil, and its drink offering. This is the burnt offering for every Sabbath. In addition to the regular burnt offering and its drink offering. So in addition to the morning and the evening lamb, there is this special offering every single Saturday. And then verse 11, at each Rosh Hodesh. Now that's the Hebrew meaning the beginning of the month. So in other words, there's 12 months. So this is 12 offerings at the beginning of each month. At each Rosh Hodesh of yours, you're to present a burnt offering to Adonai, consisting of 2 young bulls, 1 ram, 7 male lambs in their first year, and without defect, with 6 quarts of fine flour mixed with olive oil as a grain offering for each bull, 4 quarts of fine flour mixed with olive oil as a grain offering for the 1 ram, 2 quarts of fine flour mixed with olive oil as a grain offering for each lamb. This will be the burnt offering, giving a fragrant aroma, an offering made by fire for Adonai. Their drink offerings will be 2 quarts of wine for a bull, 1 1/3 quarts for the ram, 1 quart for each lamb, and this is the burnt offering for every Rosh Hodesh throughout the months of the year. Also a male goat is to be offered as a sin offering to Adonai, in addition to the regular burnt offering and a drink offering. So in addition to every single day's lambs, every single Saturdays, at the beginning of every month, at each Rosh Hodesh, this is the offering you do for that. Do you get the idea that this is a very bloody sacrificial system, constantly reminding you that in order to worship God, it's a high price you pay to worship God. You don't worship God lightly. It costs you to do this. That's an important lesson to grab here. And then in the first day, this is verse 16, in the first month, on the 14th day of the month, is Adonai's Pishak. Now, we call this the Passover. Pishak means the Passover. This is the accounting of when the last of the 10 plagues in Egypt, when God inflicted the death of the firstborn. And he told the Israelites, you slay a lamb, an innocent little lamb, you smear its blood on the doorpost, the lintels, and if you think about that, that's the shape of a cross, by the way. And God said, when he sends the death angel through Egypt, when he sees the blood of the lamb, he will pass over your house. And that's what the Peshach means, the Passover. And so this lamb is what's called a paschal lamb. And so you had to sacrifice this. And it lasts for 7 days. You found out that you eat matzah. Matzah is the bread made without leaven, and you can buy matzah at H-E-B, Kroger's. You can order it online. Matzah looks like a big, gigantic saltine cracker. It's exactly what it looks like. And so you do that. And there's a lot of instructions in there. Verse 26, on the day of the first fruits. So in other words, as you have planted your crops and you're anticipating them coming in the spring, you'll have what's called the first fruits, which means that they now start to bear some fruit, and you cut those cuttings and you take the first fruits in as an offering to God, thanking him for the bounty to come. And so that's what the festival of first fruits is. And then also, there is another one that goes along with the feast called Shavuot, also known as Sukkoth, or dwelling in booths or dwelling in tents. And it is to remind the Israelites that once they get into the promised land, once a year during this time of first fruits, you pitch tents outside your house and you live in the tents for a week, 7 days, to remind you that you spent all those years wandering in the wilderness and never once did God abandon you. And so that's the Feast of Shavuot or Sukkoth. All right, I'm going to pause right there and get ready for the next video.